Imagine you have still 1 year to live. Would you be able to create something starting in such a beautiful way? If the reply is no, I believe you will find interesting this video. Hello everybody, my name is Leonardo Barilaro and I am a pianist, composer and aerospace engineer. Today I want to give you a piano insight about a wonderful piano composition by Franz Schubert. Why I did my incipit like that? Because Franz Schubert died very young, he was 31 years old, and he died in 1828. In 1827 he composed 8 piano pieces that lately got the name of impromptu, that refers to a nuance of improvisation that apparently these masterpieces have. The first 4 compositions go under the catalog of Opus 90 and the second 4 of Opus 142. The impromptu that I want to show you today is quite famous and is the Opus 90 number 3, and it was published around 20 years after the death of Franz Schubert. During his life, Franz Schubert had not too much fame and success, unfortunately, and despite this, he composed really a huge amount of music. He was composing really a lot of pieces. He was an absolute master of lead, so pieces for piano and voice, and he was really a god in creating melodies. I met for the first time this composition when I was around 12 years old, and at that time I still didn't have enough knowledge to appreciate completely what is behind these notes, but it was a milestone in my learning process and hit my spirit very deep. As I was mentioning, this impromptu was composed 1 year before the death of Franz Schubert. So at that time, Schubert was already a very experienced composer, and in an apparently simple melody, simple harmony, we find a huge universe of nuances and beautiful stuff that I will mention very quickly. The name Impromptu was not given by the composer himself, but by the editor. It seems that apparently Schubert had nothing against it. In my opinion, it was more a marketing move, but nevertheless, these pieces take a step further from the classic sonata form, and Schubert was for sure a very quick writer, let's say, and it can of course be that he was improvising at the piano and he got the idea leading to the birth of these different pieces. It can be that this happened during one of a concert for a small number of people, usual aristocrats or rich people. But here there is inside a very classic structure, anyway, that I will explain shortly. There is that labor limb, that refinement that for sure doesn't come from just an improvisation, and there is all the depth of a huge soul, music soul like the one of Schubert. As a structure, we have a classic form ABA plus a coda, so is divided in 3 parts. The first starting here. Part B starts when there is the modulation from G flat major to E flat minor. After the part B, we go back to A, slightly modified. And we have the coda. Till the end. Just as curiosity, this one is a very old recorded edition, Italian edition of Schubert Impromptus. This is this music score really lived a lot with me, many years past. And here you can see when I was, let's say, a kid, I was putting these tricks to turn the page in small concerts that I was doing. And when I found again this book and I saw this, I smiled a lot, because actually it is still a pretty good trick if you don't have like a tablet or an iPad, just scrolling between pages. And this trick allows to be more effective if you are playing with the music score, the composition. By the way, despite this flashback, now I will go more in detail inside this beauty. And it really hit me every time thinking that despite his young age, like many other composers, Schubert was already so grown up, so developed as a spirit to create something having this huge beauty. Now, going more in detail, we can see that the impromptu is divided on 3 levels. There is this beautiful melody. There is the bass giving a base for the harmony. And there is an intermediate level, which is a harp-like flow of notes that allow a non-stop flux in the music. A non-stop flow is like, let's say, we can call it a stream of consciousness, and it is this one. All together, as a synthesis, we have what I was playing at the beginning. Now, the analysis of the harmony is quite simple, is nothing exotic. If you are lazy, you don't want to put in the work to do it, I will leave in the description one or two links to the harmonic analysis, but I suggest take the time to study it and to see how Schubert developed the beauty. So from the first grade to the relative minor, which is the sixth, and so on, and see how he was managing these different bricks. As a structure of the melody, we have a classic used by many subdivision of 4 plus 4. So we have second 4, followed by this absolute beauty. When we arrive here, my soul completely melts. In this composition, there is a continuous switching between calm and peaceful moments to moments that are darker, cloudy, let's say also with a thunder-like nuance. For example, I was playing this one. Here there is again a peaceful moment. Now there is a more mysterious, dark moment, more meditative, let's say. From here we go again in the storm without briefing. And again the sunshine. This composition is not too long, but it has really a lot inside, despite having just very few elements. And after so many years, I am still overwhelmed by what these notes awake in me. It's incredible. This is very personal for everyone, of course, but I suggest you to give it a shot. And in this roller coaster of emotions, literally everything happens. For example, when there is again the part A modified, we have little modifications in the flow, but that changes the color a lot. For example, like this one. And as I was mentioning before, we go to the coda. To study this piece is not required something transcendental as a technique, something very virtuosistic, but anyway it needs discipline as everything, and I want to suggest you some ways in which you can study it. So, very important is how is the line of a melody. So I was already showing this. One way is just the top with the melody and the left hand with the bass. Very important is also the middle part with the necessity of having a very good independence of the fingers. So you can study also, just for the study, a little bit staccato. Where you check that every note has the correct sound. So when you will put studying without the sustain pedal, when you will put together, you have a better understanding of the overall structure. Pay attention with the pedal. It is pretty straightforward how to use it, also how to use the una corda, the damper, but my suggestion is to write it exactly how you want it and to test how much you want to use it. Depends how much you have to change for sure every time that the harmony changes. Another type of study that you can do is with a synthesis like this one. As you see, I always pay a lot of attention to the melody, which most of time is played with the pinky, with finger number 5. And this can remind a little bit some composition of Chopin, where the melody has such a clear design. As a final remark, I suggest you to connect the analysis of the harmony and the analysis of the micro and micro sequences between them. This will allow to have a much clearer overview, and it will allow, as a final result, to dive much better inside this amazing music. So, for example, we have the beginning. As I was showing, is interesting to connect with this second part. And with the start of part B. And so on, for example, here. With a reprise. Check for the micro changes, for the small nuances, because most of the beauty inside these notes is in very subtle, in very, very small details. And you will enjoy a lot in exploring all of these little things that are spread everywhere. Impromptu Opus 90 number 3 is one of the 8 compositions that I mentioned. If you don't know them, I strongly recommend to listen to all, and in the description I will leave some links with a very good interpretation of this amazing music. I hope that this short piano insight inspired you to learn more, to discover more. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let me know in the comments down below what do you think about this beautiful music, and see you to the next episode.